Hey, how are you today? Well, I'm fine. If I look like Barney the dinosaur, it's because I just bought a purple shirt for like $4 at one of the local department stores here in Johnson County. Have to kind of budget my money these days, these recessionary times. But I know I must look like Barney the dinosaur. I love you, you love me. Oh, I hated Barney the dinosaur during the '90s when started watching. I was a grown ass adult, and I just it just was creepy. Which reminds me, while I was in college, I was a poor schmuck working at McDonald's, and in July it was hot in July. They were doing some kind of a public event, and I had to dress up as Grimace. And boy, oh boy, did the little children were crying when I was, ooh, 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 ooh. That's Grimace. Can you believe that? But I digress, and I'm running my mouth, and I want to talk about some serious political shit right now. I guess you never saw that coming, did you? But I want to talk about Kamala Harris and Mike Pence for a moment because really, when I've been thinking about this lately, and it's not really this election is really not about Joe Biden or Donald Trump. In spite of that's all you see on TV is Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It's not. It's really more than just Joe Biden and Donald Trump right now. I mean, and honestly, it's literally too hard to predict here in the middle of September how this election is going to turn out because both Donald Trump and Mike and excuse me and Joe Biden um, have basically baggage going against them, and they both have some advantages going for them. So I'm going to say that the election is too close to call right now. I mean, as far as the definite winner, and when I say the winner, it ain't going to be like a 1984 style Ronald Reagan landslide either way, where it was like a 49 state victory for one state and the District of Columbia going to Walter Mondale. It's not going to be anything like that, no matter who wins in November. It's going to probably more likely be a cross between 2016 meets 2000 down in Florida meets an unstable situation in a third world country. That's what this election is going to come down to. So it ain't going to be pretty around November. So, but anyway, and when there is a definite winner, or when it's pretty much decided who's going to be sworn in January, um, we lose either way because uh, Donald Trump and Joe Biden are both horrific candidates. And I say this as somebody that's going to vote for Joe Biden, and I hate Joe Biden, but Donald Trump's got to go because everything he represents. He campaigned as a quote unquote different kind of Republican. He had a lot of reactionary baggage, but there were certain populist themes that he campaigned on that were more benevolent or benign. On that one, he discarded that and became your conventional movement conservative Republican. The only reason that the movement conservative Republicans, whether they're actual never Trumpers or conditional Trumpers, the only reason they don't like him is because they don't like the way he tweets. They don't like the way they just find him crude and just so vulgar. And in other words, they want someone like they like someone like a like a Marco Rubio or a Jeb Bush or someone like that, or a Newt Gingrich or Rick Santorum that can be as much of an asshole as Donald Trump, but it's very polite has a nice smile and a pleasant demeanor about them. That's that's what they want. That is what they want. That's what they never Trumper Republicans. They're actually supporting Biden this time, as they supported Hillary Clinton in 2016. And the conditional Trumpers, they're just kind of like they hate the Democrats enough that they're going to vote for. They're in the same boat that I am in as the left, going to vote for Biden in November. They're like the idea of a Democrat winning scares them as much as the idea of the Republicans winning scares me. So that's what it comes down to. So, but when you think about it, the presidential election is not really between uh, Donald Trump and Joe Biden anymore. Right now, I'm going to say 2020 is going to be probably the first time in American history, maybe the first time in American history, that it's going to come down between which vice presidential candidate do you prefer to lead the country. That that's what's going to come down to, because no matter who wins in November between Biden and Trump, if Biden wins, it's almost a foregone conclusion that he's not going to serve his full term. And it's almost a foregone conclusion that Kamala Harris will be president. If Donald Trump is reelected, and mark my words, if this happens, you know where you heard it first. The likelihood of Donald Trump serving his second term as president is not that likely, and for various reasons. One, impeachment, because no matter what the congressional makeup is in 2020, it could very well be that if Trump wins, and even if he has a technical majority in both houses, or it stays around the same in 2022, the Democrats could be in position to take back everything, the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, and they will go with impeachment proceedings. And I think it's very damn near possible that he could be removed from very likely he could be removed from office in 2020, between 2021 and 2025. Early 2025. I think it's very possible. The more likely scenario is just look at him. I mean, the guy loves to eat Big Macs. I mean, the guy is, and I'm not fat shaming. I mean, look at me. I'm not exactly I mean, I just compare myself to Barney the dinosaur with his purple shirt. Look at me. I'm not exactly fit, peak condition. I try. I make the effort. I try to go. Yeah, I try to eat right, and I try to go to the gym. Whenever I can, I try. And sometimes I'm successful and I slim down. Sometimes I'm just bloated as I can be, and I'm in between physically, size wise. I'm in between right now. But Donald Trump don't give a damn about his personal health, and I could foresee him having a heart attack or a stroke or something. I mean, and I'm not wishing anything bad on anybody, not even people I dislike. But I could see he would be in a situation where he would not be president, and he could freaking die while he's in office due to poor health, that sort of thing. Because being president is a stressful job, even for those that people that you don't like, and even lazy presidents like Donald Trump. And I'm going to go into why he's lazy later on. So it's going to be between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence, and honestly, that should frighten everybody right there. That scenario between Kamala Harris and Mike Pence, because and that's why I'm focusing on this. I mean, Joe Biden has dementia, or he's developing dementia, and that's why he's going to leave office. And as I said, Donald Trump's impeachment could take place, and he could be removed, or his poor health would have it so that he would no longer be president for whatever reason. I think that both Kamala Harris and Mike Pence are very unacceptable, even more unacceptable than Joe Biden and Donald Trump. But here's the situation: Kamala Harris, as the Attorney General in California, basically behaved like a 1990s era typical New Democrat, a corporate Democrat, a DLC Democrat. In other words, a Bill and Hillary Clinton Democrat, a conservative Democrat, a blue dog Democrat, a Democrat in name only. That is how she was while she was the Attorney General, using these truancy laws to punish poor, mostly minority parents about children being gone to school in spite of them having a dilemma about work and school and everything. Um, the marijuana laws. I mean, going hard after casual marijuana users, throwing them behind bars, and she wanted to prove that she's tough on crime, and so she basically went after African Americans, and just as Joe Biden did with the crime bill in 1994, went after African Americans, and a lot of incarceration of African Americans took place to also appease the prison industrial complex. Um, she claims she's for the death penalty, but when it came to death penalty cases, she really didn't put enough effort to try to to stop it. And her while he was in California, her efforts, her failed efforts to prosecute Stephen Mnuchin. And on a foreign policy level, as a U.S. senator, a no go, something that just disqualifies her, is her cozying up with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, one of the worst prime ministers that ever existed, a war criminal himself, and a man that is responsible for urging the United States to go and invade Iraq back in 2002, 2003. He was the one that was really going after the administration, Bush administration, urging them to go and do what they did, which is the reason why the world is a powder keg right now when it comes to Middle East politics. So, she's a corporatist. She's basically a liberal leaning neocon who ain't all that liberal. Um, so she's unacceptable, really. But then you got Mike Pence. He's also profoundly unacceptable. As a member of the U.S. House of Representatives, as governor of Indiana, he was definitely your typical movement conservative, rubber stamp everything that is absolutely despicable about the Republican Party type of governor. He was and member of the House when he was in the Congress. He's a corporatist. He is with the Christian right, and he's a neocon warmonger. Everything that I despise, and I've always said, and people kind of look at me funny some people will look at me funny. I've said the man's actually worse than Donald Trump. So I mean, because and I have my reasons for saying that. Even Roseanne Barr, who went bonkers and was at one time left wing and became a Trump supporter and went into cuckoo land, and she's crazy, batshit crazy. She in one of the late night shows, she did have enough sense to tell one of the talk show hosts, and I can't remember which one it was, um, that a Pence presidency managed to still scare her. So if liberals, if it scares a Trump supporter like Roseanne Barr, I think that people who are corporate Democrats or even people who are in the far, far left should be legitimately frightened at the prospects of Mike Pence as president. Um, Here's the thing. The Donald Trump had a lot of people like the never Trumpers phenomenon that came along, and then they either voted for Hillary Clinton or voted for some third party candidate, and and you're seeing a repeat of that. But you always had people who were conditional Trumpers, and I would include people like Ben Shapiro, who is a noted conditional Trumper, and people like Glenn Beck became a conditional Trumper. Mark Levin, a conditional Trumper. Basically, these people in the 2016 primaries despise They despised Donald Trump for the wrong reasons. They thought he was a secret liberal. They thought he was too moderate. A lot of people think that never Trumpers are liberal Republicans, but never Trumpers come in all kinds of ideological flavors. Some never Trumpers hate Trump because he's too right wing. Some never Trumpers hate Trump because he's not right wing enough. Some of them don't like the what you call the window dressing. That he's crude, he's vulgar, he's coarse, he's nasty. They don't like that his demeanor. So you have kind of various reasons there. But when it comes to these conditional Trumpers who are and they like what he's done. So when they give Trump a compliment, they're giving him a compliment because they're like, well, Mike Pence is there doing what a lot of Republicans, even the overt never Trumpers, love Republicans to do, ranging from good old fashioned tax cuts to neocon warmongering or things like the culture wars, the doing what you can to try to dehumanize the LGBTQ community, for example. I think that Trump is bigoted. I don't particularly think he's homophobic, but what the administration has been doing is Putin. I mean, Pence's Putin. Good Lord, Pence's bidding. I mean, like the ban on the transgender community from the military. I think that's more of a Mike Pence thing. And thing about Mike Pence is he is a religious fundamentalist. And I'm not sitting there bashing Christians by saying this. I'm a Christian myself, but here's the thing: he is a fundamentalist. He left the Catholic faith to become a born again evangelical Protestant Christian. And basically, if Trump is gone, if he's reelected and he's gone, Mike Pence takes over. Just imagine the return, not only just the return of George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and those neocon ghouls and coming back in with their warmongering ways and their corporatist ways and more and more and more Wall Street deregulations and the kind of free trade that fuck over American workers and that sort of thing. Imagine that. And imagine if one of the worst U.S. senators of the latter half of the 20th century, Jesse Helms of North Carolina, came back from the dead and became president. That's what you will have with Mike Pence. You will have basically Jesse Helms meets Bush and Cheney. That is a scenario that is scary. So scary of a scenario that as much as I despise Kamala Harris, I despise Mike Pence even more. One more reason why Trump's got to go. So this is just food for thought right now. So, with Kamala Harris, you're going to get a return of Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. With Mike Pence, you'll get a return of George W. Bush and Dick Cheney and add Jesse Helms to the mix. Or add contemporary right-wing people like John Hagee to the mix. That's not a scenario that should be welcome. Because, anything that's going to cause Michelle Bachmann and Sarah Palin to get all themselves squirting with an orgasm is the idea of something like Mike Pence in the White House. Because, you're going to have a warmongering prick that wants to basically, just because of his fanaticism, wants to end human civilization. And mark my words, that's what you're going to get with Mike Pence if he's anywhere near the White House. I mean, as the president. And he's too close He's almost president right now as it is. If you like what you heard, press like, comment. If you're triggered, comment. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to say that you got a platform, you feel passionate about something, please utilize it, because we're all the muckrakers of our time. And most importantly, share. Share and subscribe. Subscribe. I'm trying to build this channel. And until next time, let me revise. Like, comment even if you disapprove. Share this information. Utilize your First Amendment rights. And subscribe. And until next time, peace. And Bernie Sanders for president in the year 2024. And no, I wasn't kidding when I said it.